Good morning. Welcome back for that same chapter, that is insight into the program execution. In the last two sessions, we learned how the compilation taken place and how the interpretation taken place. Now, in both the case, whether it is a compilation or interpretation, the result of both kind of translation process is to get an executable file. Executable file in the sense that file can be executed itself in the CPU. But in fact, after getting the executable file, the role of compiler and the role of interpreter, either the role of compiler or the role of interpreter overs. And after that, the role of operating system starts to execute the program in an efficient way. Okay. So, in case of the role of operating system, previously we learned about the different management scheduling, in which we have one kind of management, that is the resources management. Okay, later on we'll go for memory management and process management. But let's first think what is the first learn about what is the resources management. As the name says, it is nothing than managing or controlling the different resources attached to the computer, whether it is the memory or whether it is the input output. Inside the input output, or if I divide the input output, that may be keyboard, printer, monitor, any kind of input or output devices. Okay, so when we are executing a program or an executable program under execution by the your operating system, or with the help of the operating system, that executable process is known as a job, or itself is known as a process or job. Now, the efficiency of an operating system is depending upon how much job executed with a particular given amount of time. Okay, so for that, as we know, different kind of operating systems are there. Some are single user, some are multi-user, multi-processing and multi-programming operating systems are there. Okay, so when the operating system got some job or some task, so until the task is executed or until the program is executed, the program is simply sit inside the disk or simply sit idle inside the disk. Once the program is come to the main memory for execution, at that time the task of operating system is to execute that particular job or jobs. Either there is one job or there are many jobs, executing those jobs efficiently through the CPU. But as we know, the speed of CPU is much more faster than other resources, so that sometime in some condition the CPU has to sit idle for waiting other resources or waiting the response from other resources. Okay, that is controlled through an efficient operating system. Now, the efficiency of an operating system is measured in terms of a word that is known as the throughput. The throughput is used to check or used to determine the efficiency of an operating system. Okay, so if a better throughput of an operating system has better throughput, that means that operating system is a better operating system. Having a less throughput, the operating system is known as a lesser good operating system. Now, the throughput is nothing than the number of job completed by or upon a time taken. That means in a particular period of time, how much job completed by the operating system, that is known as the throughput. So if the number of time is less and the number of job is greater, that means suppose 4 or 5 jobs are executed within a small period of time, that means that operating system is a very efficient operating system. Let's understand this by one example. Now suppose in front of our operating system we have two jobs, the job 1 and job 2. the job 1 need 10 milliseconds to complete its execution. That means the total execution period. In the execution period, in the sense, it include only the allotment of CPU for that particular job. That means within the CPU, how many times the job required for its completion of its execution is known, completing execution of that job. So the particular job 1 is now need 10 milliseconds to complete its execution, but it required 8 milliseconds of IO operation after 7 milliseconds of execution. That means when job 1 is executed or you are ready for execution, at that time what happened? It will total execution time or total CPU time is 10 milliseconds. But a problem arises after 7 milliseconds. That is, it needs 8 milliseconds of IO operation. That means now the job 1 enters to the CPU, executed for 7 milliseconds. That means remaining 3 milliseconds are there for completing its execution. But at that time, the job required a input output operation. Either it is an input operation or an output operation. So in case of input output operation, it needs 8 seconds. That means that 8 seconds the CPU will be sit idle or without having any kind of operation. The CPU has to be sit for that period. That is a demerit of this kind of operating system. Now, if the operating system is a single processing operating system or single programming operating system, then what happens? The first job will execute. After completion of the first job, the second job will execute, and after execution of second job, the third job will go for execution. So, first think about it is a single processing operating system. Then what happens? It needs 7 milliseconds for execution. That means now the total number of period time we need 7 milliseconds first executed plus 8 milliseconds and plus remaining 3 milliseconds. That means total 18 milliseconds it required for executing one job. For executing one job, it need 18 milliseconds. In the second scenario, where we are using a multi-processing operating system, in case of a multi-processing operating system, what happens? Multiple processes are executed simultaneously. Multiple processes are executed simultaneously. But in fact, what happened here? The CPU is able to execute a single process at any instance of time, so that it is not possible to execute multiple processes at the same time. So what happened? The operating system will schedule the processes like that. Suppose one program or one job is processed or executed by the CPUs, and the second is executed by the input output, or suppose the third one is executed by the memory. So likewise, it will reduce the CPU idle time. Now come for an example. In case of a multi-programming operating, has to go for the single programming operating system or single processing operating system. So the first job need 18 seconds to execute. Now come to the second job. The second job need 14 milliseconds to complete its execution. In between this 14 millisecond and need a 7 millisecond of IO operation at the beginning. So what happened here? Already this 18 millisecond after execution of the first job, that means 18 millisecond are over. After that it needs 14 millisecond, but at the beginning it needs 7 milliseconds. So plus 18 plus 7 millisecond plus 14 millisecond, that is 21, and 39 millisecond it needs to execute two jobs. Clear? Now in case of a single processing operating system, for executing this particular two job, it needs 39 milliseconds for executing two jobs. But in this 39 millisecond, there are idle time of 7 millisecond and 8 millisecond, that is total 15 millisecond the CPU has to be idle without having any kind of task. So that problem can be avoided using a multi-processing operating system. Now I am telling how a multi-processing operating system has been executed. The job 1 need to execute 10 minutes and after 7 millisecond it need 8 millisecond of IO. So in the first 7 millisecond, job 1 is assigned the CPU. That means at that time the input operation or input output operation can be done by any other process. The operating system exactly doing that. That means it assign the input output devices to the second job because it needs 7 millisecond of input output at the beginning. So at the beginning it needs 7 millisecond of input output. So what happened here? When the job 1 is busy with CPU, job 2 is busy with IO. After 7 millisecond, what happened? Job 1 leave the CPU and job 2 leave the IO and the operation has been interchanged. Now in the second, what happened? 8 millisecond need the IO. Now the first job need 8 millisecond of IO. I am writing over here. 7 millisecond, that commonly first 7 millisecond commonly both of them are using. In the next 8 millisecond where the first job need the need the IO, and from that 8 millisecond, the 7 millisecond, the second job use the CPU. The second job need the CPU for 7 millisecond because what happened here? It need 14 millisecond to complete its execution and needs 7 millisecond of IO. Okay, so at the beginning it needs 7 millisecond of IO and here it needs 14 millisecond of CPU in which the job 1 complete its execution of 8 millisecond of IO. So here are remaining 6 millisecond. The job 1 has to be wait for the completion of the CPU execution. So total here 7 plus 14. That means 21 millisecond required to execute both the job. And the previously it was 39 millisecond, but here we need 21 millisecond for execution of both the job. So here the throughput is less. That means the operating system, the multi-processing operating system is efficient than the single processing operating system. So this is how the operating system process or execute the program once the programs are passes through the compilation or the interpretation process. In the next session we'll go for the memory management and processes management. Okay, up to that try to understand this throughput and how we calculate this throughput through single processing operating system as well as the multi-processing operating system. Up to that, thank you and have a nice day.